What's going on, everybody? This is Gainz Gaming. Today we are talking about this KVK against 1365 and 2489. Obviously, we did win KVK. It was a pretty easy Kingsland. And honestly, we had some good fights, but for the most part, I was kind of disappointed with the amount of fighting in this KVK. I did fall short of my 5 billion kill point goal, but we did cross the 4.5 billion kill point threshold, which I'm pretty happy about. But, next KVK, hopefully we'll hit that 5 billion mark pretty easily. But today we want to cover the KVK and talk about what exactly the stats were, and also cover the autarch testimonies that were just handed out. So you can see there is just under 2 days remaining on the heroic anthem. And if I go ahead and go into my mail, I can show you that I did actually get chosen for an autarch testimony, which is pretty cool. We will get into the full stats of the KVK here in a second as well, but I just wanted to show you how the autarch list was selected. So we have 240 from the water camp, and we have 30 for 846. And so if I show you in here, we have 85 autarchs for Mimi, 85 for 1188, 65 for S, and 5 for T. So in total, 85 for 1175, 85 for 1188, and 70 for 1079, along with 30 for 1846. And so, obviously these are the players that contributed the most in the KVK. I do believe that they were balanced pretty nicely. Obviously I don't have any say in who gets what in terms of the autarchs. I honestly didn't really, care whether I got one or not. Obviously I am very happy I got one because I can get the hunter, which will be a really good inscription for me. But you can see here I am on the list. And obviously very, very grateful that I was chosen for the autarch. And I believe when stats were completed, I was about rank 14 or somewhere in like around 15 when it came to our kingdom stats. Which I'm very happy with in the total amount of deads, and the total amount of kill points, and basically just contribution. And I forgot to show you guys the actual troops. I did kill off a ton of siege as well to get some extra speed ups. So obviously these do not count, but about, I think it's like about 1.5 million, maybe just under 1.5 million T5 and T4 deads, mostly T5. You can see tons of archer deads and tons of infantry, not as much cavs, which I was hoping to kill off more calves this KVK. And my remaining troops, you can see I definitely will be training a lot more archers because we are definitely an archer kingdom. So I need to make sure I have enough archers to kill off in this next KVK. But let's get into the stats and take a look at how exactly each kingdom did. And this is actually my first time taking a look at these stats, so we'll learn together. So here we are on our stat page. Again, huge shout out to Mamer, the creator of this page, and updating it. You can see updated as of January 1st. That is after KVK was completed, so everything is fully up to date on the final stats. This is not including all the skirmishes afterwards, after Kingsland. This is basically once Kingsland was completed, the scan was complete. So if we take a look here, we are currently looking at 1365. So let's just do a quick glance of the firepower by percentage and kind of see how drained each kingdom got. So we can see here, firepower loss for 1365 was just over 34%. For 1846, we are at 35.6%, so roughly about the same. If we look at 1175, or let's look at water camp in its entirety first. Total in water camp 30.1%, and then we'll look at 2489 as well with 32.7%, and then individually for water camp 1175 with about 17.7%. So they barely got drained. Then we look at 1188, 24.4%. And then finally 1079, 40.2%. So based on all of these, the kingdom that, gave the most in essentially deads and, putting it all out there was 1079. And, obviously after our previous KVK, we had basically no fighting. So we were bloated. We had a ton of power to drop. We hit Imperium again, which we did not want to hit Imperium again. So we did drop Imperium, and by quite a large margin as well. And then, obviously we gave tons of deads, which will really, really be nice for us. You can see the average deads, 981,000 for 1079. Average kill points, just over 200 million. And then we can take a look at the top players of kill points. So our top player got 1.8 billion. And obviously these top players are going to kind of influence the amount of average kill points. And this is going to be true with every kingdom. But if we take a look at like the last place here, actually this is only going to show us rank 100. So rank 100 was about the average. So you can see, obviously we didn't have, 300 insane fighters. We really, realistically, I would say have probably 50 really solid fighters, maybe 75 really solid fighters, as you could see by the Autark testimonies. So, if we go based off kill points alone, 75, the average kill points was 336 million for that rank 75. Let's see where I ranked. I actually don't know where I am on this because I did do some fighting after the Kingsland was over as well. I might have skipped myself. There we go. Rank 19. So after Kingsland, we were 821 million kill points gained. Obviously, we did gain some more after Kingsland was completed. Just, open field fighting, essentially. Not really fighting for a ton, but just some extra fighting that I wanted to get some extra stats. So that doesn't include into these kill points. This is just after Kingsland. And then if we look at the power loss on the far right over here, we can see our top by power was Keat, losing 43 million. I definitely did not lose that much power. I think I only lost like 3 million power. Actually, I lost 10 million power. I guess I was a little off on that. So I lost 10 million power, so rank 68. I definitely, tried to kill off as many troops as I could, but I did kill off well over, I think it was about 1.5 to 2 million troops on my farm accounts, which was pretty solid. I wanted to kill off more, but I took what I could get. Let's take a look at Water Camp in general and kind of see what that looks like here. So this isn't going to show the top player since we're looking at 3 kingdoms combined, but the average kill points was 412 million. Average deaths was 1.3 million. And then we can see, like I said before, the firepower. So an average of 30% firepower lost in this KVK. And then if we look at the above certain kill points gain, so we had 3 people over 3 billion. We had 14 people over 2 billion, 78 over 1 billion, and 269 over 500 million. I did fall into this category right here. I was very close to 1 billion, but we did fall short because, Kingsland didn't really last that long. It really only lasted about a day. So pretty unfortunate with that. And then if we look at the kill points, so top 300, 244 billion, top 600, 315, and then top 900, 319. So obviously some farm accounts in here as well. But obviously this is with 3 different kingdoms. So the top 600 is realistically going to be mostly main accounts. And then if we look at the deads for those same, pretty much the same kind of thing where we see the top 600 is pretty solid. And then the top 900 kind of gets, wavered off. Firepower, you can see right here, it lost 7.9 billion firepower in total. Let's take a look at 1365. We can see here, the average kill points gain was 315 million. Average deads was 874,000. And, obviously the kill points gain is going to be heavily influenced by these top performers. So you can see they had 6 players over 3 billion kill points. Osno with a crazy 4.5 billion kill points in this KVK. Osno did hit 60 billion kill points, so did Baba. So that is pretty crazy. Congrats to both of those two for hitting huge milestones. 66 over 1 billion and 207 over 500 million. So, really, really solid results here. Let's see where their 1 billion mark cutoff is. Yeah, so 66 over 1 billion is crazy. This guy barely crossed over the 1 billion threshold. That's awesome. And then if you look at the power loss, you can see right here, top power loss was 95 million. They didn't have a ton of like mega whales, no one like over 1 billion power, but some pretty good power loss here as well from 1365. Then we look at 1846, which is the second most drained in the KVK. So 35.6% firepower loss. You can see here average kill points 376 million, average deads of 1.1 million. The kill points here, Grog also killed it with kill points, no pun intended. 4.2 billion kill points gained. Makot coming in at 3.6. We have 4 players over 3 billion, 18 over 2 billion, 67 over 1 billion, and 169 over 500 million. So, smaller amount of numbers here, but really, really solid fighters in this KVK. And, obviously Makot just went all out in the first zone. I think he dropped 200 million power in the first zone alone. So 308 million power loss from Makot, which is pretty insane. It was awesome fighting with him this KVK. I hope we get to match up with him again and hopefully are allied with him again because I would not want to fight against Makot. And then 2489, 32.7% firepower loss. So still pretty close to 1846, just 3% off. We can see here 17 players over 3 billion kill points. Heartless with over 5 billion kill points gained. You can see some of these players are just insane. Foe with 3.8 billion. Baba with 3.2 billion. So, really insane fighters in, obviously 2489. They did just win against 60GT. So huge congrats to 2489 for winning Osiris League. I really wish I would have bet because I completely forgot to, and I didn't bet at all, which kind of sucks because I would have bet on 2489, but I just completely forgot to. But 17 players over 3 billion, 38 over 2 billion, 104 over 1 billion, and 172 over 500 million. Absolutely insane. And then we look at the power loss. Foe and Arvix and also Green, all about 160 million power loss. Just crazy amount of power. I am kind of shocked that Baba did not drop more power. He only dropped 41 million, which, being over billion power, you would expect a lot more. One player that did drop a ton of power, I believe, is Mimi. So Mimi combined dropped over 300 million. Kang has 3 different accounts. So Kang and Mimi are just insane power freaks, to be honest. Kang 68 million on this account, 165 million on that account, 190 million on this account. So collectively about 400 million. Mimi collectively with about 320 million power loss. So, this is just absolutely insane. Kang with 3.7 billion kill points gained. Average kill points 486 million. And average deads 1.6. Jeez. Then 1188. This is kind of when it gets crazy. So the average kill points in 1188 was 826 million. Average deads 1.6 million. This is just insane because the amount of players they have is not huge because they are an AC kingdom, but obviously they have really, really solid players that are fighting. Their average 826 million. As you can see, comparing that to Water Camp in general with 412 million, comparing it to 1846 of 376 million, comparing it to 1365 with 315 million, they are on pace with 2489 averaging 1 billion kill points. And that's also because we have 17 players over 3 billion that are jacking up that score. So if you look at the rank 100, just over 1 billion. If you look at the rank 100 in 1188, you can see 586 million. So the fact that they can kind of keep up with 2049 is just insane for an A seed kingdom. So huge shout out to 1188 for these crazy stats because they were absolutely insane to fight with. All right, and then if we take a look at the individual stats, we'll take a look at a couple of these. So let's look at T5 kills, see who gained the most T5 kills. We have Osno from 2489 with 215 million T5 kills, 5.1 billion kill points. And, obviously this is just absolutely insane at 92 million power. So he wasn't even, a mega whale of having tons and tons of power, dropped down to 77 million. That's crazy because he has the same amount of power I have right now. And I'm sure this will be kind of the same ranking here, but kill points, obviously Heartless with number 1, Osno number 2, One Big number 3. You can see the kingdoms are mostly 2489 because these guys were just absolutely insane this KVK. And, the fact that they have some of the top players by kill points in this KVK, but still could not win, really shows that quantity is also huge when it comes to fighting ability. If you have insane quality, such as 2489 and 1365, with the amount of insane fighters they have there, that is not going to outmatch having tons of players on the field. I know that Chiskool had talked about this a couple times, like probably a year or 2 years ago, where he was basically saying that, having 5 marchers on the field, even if you can really only field 3, has so much more utility than only fielding 3 really, really good marches. Because if you can field 5 solid marches, you have an additional 2 marchers on the field. Even if they're not trading as good, you can wipe out an enemy murder ball so much faster if you outnumber them like 3-1. Which, if you guys watch this KVK, you know that Water Camp outnumbered 1365 and 2489 insanely every single time. Every single time a murder ball would be moving, 1365 would just retreat because they stood no chance whatsoever. Because just the sheer amount of numbers that Water Camp was bringing to the fight was so much that 1365 just could not handle it. And that's why they had to retreat so often. And every single time, if you guys watch my live streams, you would see that every single time, and I'm not even exaggerating, every time that we'd push, they would immediately retreat because we would have 3 times the numbers coming at them from just 1 or 2 kingdoms. Because, 1079 and 1188 and 1175, we all had different downtimes. And so the times where 1188 and 1175 were super active, 1079 was asleep. And when 1188 and 1175 were inactive, then 1079 was in its uptime. And you had the people from 1188 and 1175 that were either staying up late or using pilots that were able to help 1079. We basically had every single time zone covered, which meant that, when 1188 and 1175 was in their uptime and, part of 1079 was on, we'd be able to push them very, very easily. And then when 1188 and 1175 logged off, then we would kind of be at a stalemate and nothing would happen because we would be able to match 1365 in their uptime. And then it would switch and we'd be able to push them back again. And so that was just the entire KVK of outnumbering the opponent. And honestly, I don't think we will ever see a camp as strong as Water Camp ever again in Rise of Kingdoms, because this was just insanely powerful. I honestly don't know what happened with the matchmaking that made them put these 3 kingdoms into a KVK together in the same camp, because it's just the sheer amount of numbers and power that come with these kind of kingdoms all paired together is just way too powerful. I think the only kingdom that would have stood any chance against this camp would be 1960. And, I feel like they'd win, but it would probably be pretty close on, one-on-one 1960 versus the 3 of these kingdoms. I think that's the only kingdom in my eyes that would be able to even put up any fight against these 3 kingdoms. So I'm curious what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think about Water Camp, and if you guys think any kingdom would be able to take on Water Camp and win, or if you think Water Camp would be able to beat every single kingdom in the game. Curious what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for checking out the video and have a great rest of your night.